Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome back again to our mentoring session today. We're glad to be with you to share some wonderful information. My name is Craig, and we're going to get right into this article. It's something that I thought about when I am someone that's in recovery myself, and I had the opportunity to go to a therapeutic peer recovery program and treatment program, that is. And one of the things, being that we're talking about mentoring, I know around here we talk a lot about the addiction aspect of prevention and intervention, things of that nature, getting healthy and well. And so I remember while going through the process, I'm gonna make the story short as possible. I went through the three phases: orientation, main treatment, and reentry. So when we got to the reentry phase, the supervisor or the instructor, facilitators there wanted everyone who was moving on or graduating out of the program to do a vocational group, whereas we can explain or give some insight into a vocational skill that we have learned or developed along our journey. And so one of mine was welding. I remember when I was incarcerated, I took up the skill of welding. And so I presented that to the class. And so to make things, bring it home, is that the reason I talk about the welding, the life skills, and the reentry aspect is that we're doing a mentoring program. A lot of times men and women, I don't want to exclude no one, may find it very difficult to get employed after coming from addiction or coming out of addiction, getting into sobriety, and they may have the notion that being that they may have limited job opportunity or job hire or skills of that nature, they may get discouraged. So I want to touch on it, and I'll let the article speak for itself. And so you can get this article by Detox. You can go to detox.com. Go online and retrieve this article. And the name of this article is How to Get a Job After Addiction Recovery. 6 tips to help you succeed, right? And so this is very important because sometimes we hear people say, especially coming out of incarceration into the reentry phase, that people are not going to hire me. I'm not going to get a job because of my criminal background. And so I want to dispel that myth, especially if you are employable. First of all, you have to become employable. And by me saying employable, you have to be willing to learn, willing to work. And so that's something very important. And so along the way, you'll pick up little tidbits of interviewing skills. We just went over some, we went to a New Jersey NJPN annual conference in Atlantic City. And we were talking, the introduction of the conference, the keynote speaker, he made mention of motivational interviewing. And I thought that was so very important. You know, being able to use some OAR skills. OAR stands for open-ended question. The acronym of OARS, OARS, is O stand for open-ended questioning. A, affirmation. R is reflective listening. And S is summary or summarizing. Okay, and so let's go on to it. And so we have to learn some job skills, whether it's resume writing, communicating, interviewing, being able to read and write and comprehend. So the article starts off by saying a major part of addiction recovery is achieving stability, independence, and a sense of self-sufficiency. These things are usually much easier to achieve with a decent job and a steady income, neither of which tends to come easily to recovering addicts. The costs of substance abuse and addiction are far-reaching and profound, impacting a recovery addict's life long after they're given up drugs and alcohol. You may have lost your job during your active addiction and were unable to get hired at a new job. Or you may have been unmotivated to even search for openings and apply. Now, after treatment, even if you are much more motivated to return to work, you could still face difficulties when it comes to finding employment, right? This article will address the connection between drug use and unemployment. Remember, we're talking about mentoring, we're talking about leadership, role models, we're talking about getting ourselves back on track. Also, another thing, May is Mental Health Awareness Month, okay? Remember, May is Mental Health Awareness Month, so be mindful of that as well. I just felt the need to throw that in before I go on or forget. So the article says this article will address the connection between drug use and unemployment, then offer advice on how recovering addicts can increase their chances of both getting hired and successfully hanging on to their new job. Addiction and unemployment in the U.S. All right, and so here's some stats, I believe. It says the sad truth is that addiction makes you less likely to be employed and more likely to face difficulty when it comes to finding and keeping a job. Excessive drinking is more common among the unemployed, as is illicit and prescription drug abuse, either of which can result in a less than stellar job history. Alcohol is the most common addiction in the United States, primarily because it is legal and because many people see drinking as a minor vice, like fried foods or binge watching. All right? This widespread acceptance leads to widespread use. 18% of respondents to the anonymous U.S. Department of Health and Human Services National Survey on Drug Use and Health stated that they drank alcohol over 100 times in the past 12 months. Alcohol use disorder causes 500 million lost job days each year, and approximately 88,000 Americans lose their lives to alcohol-related causes every year. All right, because it is very important for a recovering addict to establish independence, stability, and financial security in addiction recovery. Anyone wanting to maintain their sobriety needs to carefully address any issues they may have related to employment. Not only does being unemployed make you more vulnerable to relapse, being employed may make you more likely to stay sober. Studies have shown that rates of drug use often decreases as levels of employment increases. The National Survey on Drug Use and Health found that 18% of illicit drug users are unemployed. That's a high number. 10% work part-time and 8% work full-time. At the same time, it is important not to take on more than you can handle in addiction recovery. All right? So it says, here are 6 tips on work and addiction recovery that will help you learn how to get a job and achieve a healthy work life that complements your recovery efforts. All right? And so I want to share these 6 tips with you. And so without further ado, we're going to talk about the first one. If your treatment center offers job skills training, guess what? Take it. If your treatment center offers you job skills training, take it, right? The article goes on to say, it says many addiction treatment centers offer vocational training or classes and educational sessions on job skills, such as resume writing and interviewing. Take full advantage of these kinds of opportunities if they come. There are a number of fairly simple, small changes you can make to your usual style of job searching that can have a huge impact on your success, such as making sure to show up 5 to 10 minutes early for an interview or practicing your answers to common interview questions at home in advance. All right. So these are some tips. All right, that's the first one. If your treatment center offers job skills training, we suggest that you take it. Moving on right along, we're going to cover 6 of them. And the second one, that is, try part-time work first to see how it goes. All right, pace yourself. Don't be in a rush. Just pace yourself. Scope out the landscape. All right. So it says for the good reason, for a good cause. Don't scope it out for nothing bad, for something good. All right. Let's see what the articles advise us. The article says taking on too much too soon is a common cause of relapse and addiction recovery. So while it is crucial for recovering addicts to seek financial and professional stability, it is also crucial that they not sacrifice their mental health or sobriety in the name of professional success. If you aren't sure whether or not you're ready to handle the stresses that come with a full-time job, listen to this. Try working part-time at first. Not only is it a safe way to test how you'll react to being back at work, it will allow you to slowly adjust to working without becoming overwhelmed. All right? It goes on to say, it will also give you income in a more structured schedule, which can be beneficial to addiction recovery. And so that is so key. Structure, all right? Structure, schedule. You know, a lot of times I come to learn that having a structured schedule, it keeps me in line with what I need to do moving forward. And so if I'm mindful of my structured schedule, then I can achieve my tasks more effectively. And so that is one good tip is, you know, eat right, getting proper rest. Also, always one of my biggest pet peeves is do self-evaluation consistently. Always check on your progress. Encourage yourself when things is not going your way, and so just always look on the bright side. So when you take that type of perspective and attitude, I'm under the belief you're going to get great results. So just hold your head up high, and we're going to cover step 3. All right. So we covered step 1, and step 1 talked about what? If your job center offers job skills training, we want you to take it, the article says. Then number 2, it says try part-time work first to see how it goes, right? And then number 3, the article says don't apply for a high-stress job that increases your chance of resuming your substance abuse. We don't want you to get overwhelmed too fast, too soon. Take your time. All right? The race is not to the swift, but those who endure to the end. All right? The article says, choose wisely when it comes to the kinds of jobs you apply for. High-stress jobs that bring chaos and tension into your life will put undue pressure on your addiction recovery and make you vulnerable to relapse. You also want to avoid any job that puts you directly in the path of drugs or alcohol. Let me read that again. You also want to avoid any job that puts you directly in the path of drugs or alcohol. A recovering addict should not work in a bar or casino, okay? For example, or in a workplace where drugs are available and or drug use is prevalent. If your coworkers have a casual attitude about substance use, it may not only trigger your urge to use, it would be far too easy, the article says, for you to give into that urge when it hits. All right? And so the article suggests don't take on a job where alcohol or drug is prevalent, where there, especially it says casinos and bars. Because when you're in recovery, you don't want nothing to trigger you. You don't want no urges or craving. So you want to remove yourself from those environments. Uh, we know the article says we know you are needing for some stability, financial, professional lifestyle, but not at the risk of your sobriety. Okay, don't do it. Don't do it. So just be mindful of that. Let's go on to number 4. And number 4 talks about consider what you really want to do for a living. Now, I know this is a mentor recovery support group, but we want to touch on not just on the alcohol and drug issue. We also want to give you some information on job skills, some type of vocation. We want to give you an outlook to say that that you can achieve whatever goals you set before you, and that if there's someone behind you or under you or someone that looking up towards you, you want to give them the best illustration. You want to set the best example. Don't live in the past because you made mistakes in the past. Don't allow that to be your norm. Move on to bigger and better things. Okay? Okay. So number 4 says consider what you really want to do for a living. All right. And this article says addiction recovery isn't just about not drinking or not doing drugs. It is also about creating a new life for yourself that makes you less likely to want to turn to drugs or alcohol for entertainment or as a coping mechanism. A fulfilling job goes a long way towards establishing that kind of life for yourself. Think about the kind of work that you will find satisfying and enjoyable, and make a plan to go for it. Sometimes this means going after a big dream you never pursued or even acknowledged during your active addiction. But sometimes it means admitting to yourself that what you truly want to do may not match up to what your family or society think you should do. Maybe you used to work in finance because it impressed your family and friends, and because you thought it was the kind of job you were supposed to want, while deep down you always hated it. Getting a less impressive but more emotionally rewarding job may be exactly what you need to be happy. All right? So you have options. Okay? The article make mention consider what you really want to do for a living. And if there's something that you tried before and it didn't work out, it didn't really fit you like a good suit, and hey, take that suit off, put on a different suit. All right? You have options. Number 5. Let's go on to number 5. We're doing pretty good. All right. And so number 5 talks about ask for help while you transition back to work life. Ask for help while you transition back to work life. While you're ready to get back into working full time, make sure you don't overburden yourself with so much to do that you get worn down and stressed out. Right? A lot of times we can get these stressful jobs that can overwhelm us. A lot of times it can be bring on fatigue, bring on frustration, bring on a whole bunch of emotions of anger, dissatisfaction. And so we're not saying that every day on whatever job you have, it's going to be a peaches and cream. It's not going to be like that. you're gonna run into a few bumps. That's okay. Brush your shoulders off. You know what I mean? Keep it moving. Because the thing is, you want to be the best you that you can be, not only for yourself, but for those who you connected to, your loved ones, your community. And so you want to always put your best foot forward. All right. And if you need to talk to someone about a given situation, find someone that's fired in, and y'all get together and y'all share. They call it troubleshooting, resolution. This is what you learn in the job, when the workforce. Resolution, job skills, of finding how to troubleshoot issues, bring about some resolve. And so all this stuff work hand in hand. All right. And so the article says you need to continue to make time to care for your physical and mental health, and to maintain social connection. Remember, May is mental health awareness. So take care of your mental health. Take care, number one, yourself. There's a saying that says the first law of all nature is self-preservation. If you don't take care of yourself, you're not going to be able to take care of someone else. So, all right, make sure you take care of yourself. All right. So the article goes on to say, while you are adjusting to your new life, your new work life, ask for extra help around the house, or with errands or child care. Eventually, you may be able to keep more balls in the air at once, but keep the juggling to a minimum at first. Maybe you have a friend who can come over and help you cook a couple of times a week. All right. Or a family member who can take your car to get service while you're working. You don't have to do every single thing yourself. And you may be surprised at how many people are glad to offer help when you ask. I was just telling a young lady yesterday, I was doing outreach in the community, and she was going through some issues. And I explained to her, no matter what age that you may start over, is that you can make a difference as long as you are making strides. People will genuinely help you if they see that you are helping yourself. And so I shared a story with her that I started college at a very late age, and I was in the library on the college campus, and I was on the computer, and I think I ran into an issue on the computer that I didn't know. And so there was a young generation that was in their little computer area. So I said, well, let me just ask and see if I can get some help from them. And to my surprise, I was well pleased. I asked the young person, and the young person genuinely got up and came over and assisted me. And that was a lesson learned for me, is that when you are willing, as the article says, when you are willing and when people see you are willing to help yourself, they'll be more than willing to help you along the way. And so that is true. It is profound. It is real. And just keep doing what's right, and people will doors will open up for you. People will embrace you. They will encourage you. And so I am a living example of all the things that I just mentioned. All right, let's move on to the sixth one. Oh, we covered 5 so far. We're on tip number 6. Tip number 6 says, don't forget the importance of aftercare. Wow. Don't forget the importance of aftercare. The article goes on to say, aftercare is an essential part of anyone's addiction recovery. Recovery isn't over when you're discharged from addiction treatment. That is so true. It is not over. You still need to look After your mental health, let me read that again. You still need to look after your mental health. Remind yourself of the lessons you learned in treatment. I'm going to tell you your self-assessment. All right, do an inventory and learn new lessons as your life evolves and changes. Your rehab facility should help you construct an aftercare plan. Most of them do, and or connect you to support groups and other community resources that can keep you on track through the inevitable ups and downs of life. Aftercare is so essential. I remember sharing, I was in the therapeutic community. I made mention of this earlier. And after completing, getting ready to transition to another program, another phase of reentry, is called assessment. Right, and so I had to go to what they call an assessment program. And so, unbeknown to me, I thought while I was in, that was just complete. I thought that was the completion of the program after the therapeutic program. So I go to the counselor, and she said, "Yeah, you got to graduate." I said, "Good." So I'm done with the program. She said, "Oh, not so fast." I said, "What do you mean?" I just did the program. It's about uh, anywhere from 12 months to 16 months. I said, "Man, so I just completed the program." She said, "No, you're not completed. We got what we call continuum of care." And I said, "What?" I said to myself, I said, "You mean tell I got to do more programming?" She said, "Yeah, mind you." Now I was in a therapeutic peer program where we programmed 7 days a week without exception. I don't care if it was a holiday. We did some type of group every single day, sometime from after breakfast all the way to after dinner. And so, but anyway, long story short, continuum care is part of the process. All right, let's go on to the next. It's just so much in this article reminds me of my experience that I just had to share some of it with you. All right, it says, "Are you ready to work again?" The article says if you have just barely gotten sober, you may not be ready to work again. For an example, it's unusual. It's usually a bad idea to jump right back into full-time work after detox. You need intensive counseling and behavioral therapy to help you discover and work through mental and emotional issues, to learn new ways of thinking about substance use, and to develop new habits and responses to trigger situations. Even after completing a comprehensive inpatient program, you may not be ready to get back to work immediately after being discharged. It can be disorienting to return to ordinary life after being immersed in a treatment environment, and you need time to adjust to the real world before taking on new professional challenges. Sober living facilities can be a very useful way to transition from the treatment environment to independent living. These facilities provide safe, stable, low-cost housing where you'll be living with other people who are committed to their recovery. You may participate in group therapy or attend 12-step meetings together. Many sober living facilities require that you be in school or working after a certain period of time, such as 30 days, but they also often offer job search and job placement assistance or employment and vocational counseling to help you achieve this. Setting goals is very important for a recovery addict transitioning back into everyday life. You can set big long-term goals such as going back to school or getting into a job training program. But you can also set smaller, short-term goals like setting aside Saturday morning for cleaning your apartment or making sure that you get 8 hours of sleep every night. As you plan for, then meet these small goals. You will increase your confidence and prepare yourself to take on bigger challenges and additional responsibility, right? So set some goals. That's so key here. Setting goals. I set goals for myself coming out of re-entering back into society after going through the treatment and incarceration and all that stuff. Um, I had to set. I told myself I'm going to set small goals, which are attainable, mid-range goals, and then I was going to move on to long-term goals. All right. So small term, mid-term, long-term. That was my thing. Was small-term goals was just getting myself back into get myself acclimated back to my surroundings, to the norms of things that I need to acquire, and that was identification. That was something. A lot of times when we are in our active addiction, we begin to live a lifestyle where we may have lost, or somehow they are displaced, or whatever the case may be. So now all these things we have to regain or gather back together. And so my ID, whether it be Social Security, birth certificate, uh, driver's license, all that stuff is very important to have in your possession at all times. All right. And so that was something small, then attainable. When I say small, that's what they were, small and attainable, right? You ever heard of SMART goals? All right. And so I did that. Then a mid range or midterm goals was not only getting employment, but also establishing a bank account. All right. One of the things was also I learned this as well. If you are just getting back reacclimated into the workforce, a lot of times some employers they look at your credit score, right? And so it may sound, if you haven't been working and you haven't been in the field, you may say a credit score. Why would they need a credit score? Well, based upon of your credit score, they can gauge who they're in who's being employed. Okay, and they would like to know, are you a stable person who maintain their responsibilities? All right. So that's another factor right there. All right, and so let's move on to the last and final part of this article, and that is how to return to work and avoid relapse. Environment has an enormous impact on addiction recovery and can make the difference between continued sobriety and relapse. Make sure that you have a safe, supportive home environment in place before you return to full-time work. This can be challenging if you are also facing money problems, which is another reason sober living facilities are a great option after addiction treatment. Temporary living with a friend or family member can be a big help. Just make sure that they are supportive of your recovery and are willing to keep their home substance free. You can also incorporate these living arrangements into your goal setting process by deciding how long you expect to stay and then create a timeline of steps you need to take to build towards getting a place of your own. No matter how busy your life and work keep you, continue to pay close attention to how you are feeling, keeping your eyes open for any signs of impending relapse, such as feeling negative or hopeless, feeling exhausted, losing interest in activities or socializing, skipping counseling session or support group meetings, becoming easily irritated or irrationally angry, reminiscing at length about past drug or alcohol use. You have to be mindful of this. Play cope. It says continue to pay close attention to how you are feeling. If you notice any of these signs, call a counselor. Let me read that again. If you notice any of these signs, call a counselor, your sponsor, or a trusted friend or family member who you feel comfortable talking to. Sometimes just admitting out loud that you are tempted can be enough to allow a craving to pass. If it isn't enough, talking things through can help you identify what's happening in your life to impede your progress. Honestly analyze what's going on with you to discover what the problem is and what you can do to fix it. But don't wait until signs of relapse appear before taking action. Safeguard your sobriety from the start by taking preventative measures. Don't let work responsibilities get in the way of good self-care. And protect yourself against common addiction triggered by remembering the AA acronym. All right? HALT, which stands for hungry, angry, lonely, and tired. Recovering addicts are always more vulnerable to relapse when they are in any of these states of being, and taking steps to make sure you don't stay in these states for long will go a long way towards keeping you on track with your recovery goals. Man, this is one of the great articles that I like. I believe this is one of the top 10. I read, I shared some good ones on this vehicle of communicating. Uh, so please, if you know somebody who's struggling with alcohol, mental health, or substance abuse, whether it be alcohol or drugs, please get them to the right, appropriate professional help that they need. So now that's it for me. Take care of yourself. Go online, retrieve this information. This information is brought to us by detox.com. I'm Craig. Stay safe, take care of yourself, love one another, and stay healthy. All right.